Have you ever forgotten your homework? I know I have. How about trying to escape your school locked at night while being force-fed hallucinogens and being chased by an eldritch squid monster? I know I have. If you can relate, then we can bond over our shared experiences in this new retro survival horror, Late Homework. We begin by playing as Haneko, a cat who is riding a bus through the rain as she reflects on her hard time at school this year. Particularly, she notes how her missing assignments have largely impacted her grades and could prevent her from passing the semester. She briefly mentions a rumor spread among students of an entity that lurks the school halls and may be responsible for the disappearance of other students before being texted by her mom. Her mom checks in on her to see where she's at and if Haneko is returning home for dinner. Haneko tells her mom not to worry, who in turn shares her concerns and hopes she comes home safe. Haneko then puts down her phone and reflects on her increasingly worsening headaches before taking some pills to alleviate them. Not long after, we arrive at the school, which doesn't exactly resonate school spirit. From here, the game begins, and we learn of the game's Resident Evil-like tank controls that require us to use only the left joystick to move around. At first, I found this pretty challenging, but over time, I got the hang of it and felt that it added to the scrambling that can happen during intense encounters with the monster. But we'll get to that in a bit. In the interim, we get to wander the outside of the school grounds during this intro sequence. The lot seems widely abandoned, with trash strewn everywhere, graffiti lining the walls, and dumpsters blocking most entrances. Scooching these out of the way, we learn more of what has been afflicting Fushigina Secondary School, including sinkholes that swallow cars whole, and reports of students suddenly disappearing. From here, we get a glimpse into the main gameplay loop of the game, where we are required to solve puzzles and use the items we subsequently obtain to unlock new areas and progress the story. All the while, we find pulsating masses of flesh, loud banging from monsters trying to get at us, and shadowy appendages trying to reach out at us as we walk around. During these trials, we dial a phone number that fails to connect, and instead an eerie voice and presence appears behind us before the phone box explodes, giving us a glimpse into what awaits us as we get the key we need and enter the school. Alternatively, we can enter this number, which gives us quite a different message.
Haneko, welcome to the school. You ready to experience the horror?
But I digress. Once inside the school, Haneko looks around and feels that something is off before the metal shutter crashes down behind us, signaling to us that there is no escape until we find all of our missing assignments, which we find the first of near an online computer. Upon inspection, the computer has several different applications, including emails that detail the increasing danger of sinkholes, various door access controls, and this mysterious clip that shows esoteric symbols that belong to a password entry on the same computer. Upon inputting the correct sequence, we get pictures of cats. You know, for all the horror we are about to get into, this brings joy to my face. I like this. After enjoying looking at the kitties, we open the supply room, which then gives us access to the rest of the school. Along the way, we also collect a map that details which rooms are accessible, have items, or rooms that cannot be entered. While wandering the halls and empty rooms, we find more assignments, as well as diary entries that detail what happened to a particular student throughout their time at Fushigina. It isn't long before we find out why nobody stays here at night, where upon entering a door, we are confronted with a grotesque, shrieking creature with sharp claws and long tentacles that grabs us and instantly separates our head from our body. Blood splashes our screen, and we are given the option of continuing with now only 2 lives remaining. I thought cats were supposed to have 9 lives. I guess Haneko's been living dangerously since before tackling giant monsters. Following our respawn in the safe area, we continue to explore and learn more of what happened to our diary-writing friend, who recollects about similar struggles to Haneko in her classes. While looking around, if we wait too long in one area, the monster from earlier makes a dead sprint towards us, where we are required to duck into empty classrooms and wait in hiding until it passes. During one of our hideouts, we come across the day room, an area that is presumably for students, that is now littered with bloody mattresses and a cat-shaped specter, who leads us to a step stool, one of the first items we need to progress in the game. More diary entries inform us that the student began taking pills prescribed by Dr. Tomo, with the student no longer wanting to leave the school and instead wanting to stay in the day room on the comfy mattresses. I don't know about you, but while I'm reading this, all I could think is, get out! Get out of there, little cat student! In between being chased, we make our way to a courtyard containing a maze of shrubbery and several platforms that, when pressed, lower a key to the boys' bathroom that allows us to progress further in the game. We collect more missing assignments and make our way to the boys' bathroom, which contains a screwdriver jammed into the bathroom mirror, disembodied whispering voices in the background, and another shadowy figure who we can only tell is watching us by their reflection in the mirror. Yep, sounds about right for every boys' bathroom I've ever been in. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Once again, we get our steps in before being able to unscrew the bolts on the janitor's closet, which reveals an office filled with numerous lockers. Among them, one is open, which contains numerous empty pill bottles and a crumpled note detailing how shipments have been disrupted by the sinkholes, and implying that the staff has been actively drugging the students at Fushigina. What is going on here? As we ponder this question, we enter a blood-stained room using the passcode from earlier and obtain the girl's bathroom key. Suddenly, the lights go out and the room becomes filled with flies. To escape, we scavenge a crowbar from one of the empty lockers and quickly make our way out of the room. Sadly, it is at this point that our cat friend must reach her paw deep into one of the toilets in the girl's bathroom to retrieve the, quote, golden orb of Fushigina, typically awarded to high-achieving students. Yeah, we don't care about all that. I just want to wash my hands and take a hot shower after having to go wrist-deep in other people's kitty litter. From here, we collect a book in the courtyard, which then allows us to access the school's archives and obtain a hammer to open up the crumbling wall in the ISS room. Despite making progress in collecting our missing work, the school around us begins to crumble in response to the sinkholes affecting the area, cutting off some doorways and escape routes that would otherwise keep us safe from the terrifying entity chasing us. Once inside the ISS room, Haneko rolls a d20 for strength and obliterates the wall adjacent to the boiler room, allowing us entry. We then see the boiler room contains little more than a few pipes and a diary entry seemingly from Dr. Tomo. The guidance counselor describes barricading themselves inside this room and confesses that they are transforming into something sinister. They also share that there is, presumably, a student inside of their office that will, quote, stay in their office forever. In addition to these ramblings, there is also a slab emitting Smiling Friends-esque babbling that we can obtain by turning the pipes in the directions indicated by Dr. Tomo's diary to turn off the steam blocking our way. We can then use the slab to undo the pentagram in front of the guidance counselor's office, allowing us to enter. At this point, we find more diary entries covered in blood, where the student describes how their dosage has been upped and everything is falling apart. Wandering further down the dark corridor in front of us, we pull back the curtains in Dr. Tomo's office and learn of what they were speaking about earlier. On the other side of the curtains is the missing student, bloodied and battered, hanging from the ceiling. Haneko recoils in horror at the sight in front of her and reads the note nearby. The note is short and abrupt, including only words like red, Tomo, meet, pulse, belong, here, won't take me, and is surrounded by empty pill jars. Huh? I wonder what she's talking about. I think I'm starting to get it. With everything going on, I think we gotta get out of here. We try to leave after watching the spawning hatch, but the door is now bolted shut and looks different from earlier. Going back to the curtained area, the student's body is now gone and is replaced with the, quote, key of salvation, which we can use to escape. We grab Dr. Tomo's key card, our final missing assignment, and book it for the entrance. The school now appears normal? Normal-ish, at least. And it is now morning, and although we appear safe, we have to duck in between classrooms to avoid the now nearly invisible monster lurking in the hallways. Returning to the computer near the entrance, we use the faculty ID to unlock the shutter control, which asks us for a password. Recalling the word graffitied onto the guidance counselor's office walls, we type in failed, the shutters open, and we retreat into the sunlight. You don't look so good, Haneko. I think that's understandable given the night she has had as she scurries onto the bus, looks back hauntingly at the school, and makes her way back home with late homework in hand. She reflects on her night and how she'll never go back to that school as she takes her pill bottle and chucks it out the moving bus before the credits begin to play. And just like that, we have successfully beaten late homework. Now, a thought I had after beating the game was any of it real? There definitely seems to be some elements grounded in reality, such as the school administrators drugging students, but it poses the question of, was the monster real? How about the missing student that we found dead? The sinkholes? All of it may be scrutinized as symptoms of the medication, as one newspaper clipping reads, Varaxidine, the medication prescribed to students, is an antidepressant that can cause extreme dissociation, loss of control, and vivid hallucinations. Could Haneko's eventful night been the result of Dr. Tomo's negligent prescription? Well, who knows. Anyway, let's see how we did based on our performance. An F? I'm not sure what to say. Despite me objectively failing, I had a lot of fun with late homework and the story it told. While the gameplay loop from here is for the most part pretty similar, there are a couple last things that I would like to make mention of. Beginning with the speedrunning element of the game, there are many achievements and costumes locked behind completing the game in a certain amount of time, making subsequent runs feel challenging and providing replayability to the game in a way that doesn't feel tedious, as most runs are only about 20 to 30 minutes. Now hold up, what did I just say? There are many achievements and costumes. That's right, don't get me started about the costumes in this game. Although what might otherwise be a small detail in the larger picture of the game, the costumes are actually super cool. Each costume is unique from one another and is super high quality. Frankly, I was surprised at how impressive each costume was, and it genuinely made me want to unlock them all. While some are more serious, like the tactical costume, others are unique or hilarious, including the rave costume that adds for some inappropriate moments, as Haneko is fearing for her life, while her headset is jamming out to some bumpin' music. Beyond these two cool little details added by the developer, there is also a hard mode, which lives up to its name pretty well. The monster is now permanently aggroed and you only have one life to beat the game with. He is also blue. All in all, a short but very fun adventure with high potential for replayability, especially if you like achievement hunting like I do. Okay folks, that wraps up my review for today. Shout out to the developer and support their hard work by buying the game on Steam and other titles like Hypnagogia, which currently has overwhelmingly positive reviews. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing and share this video with your friends. I always appreciate everyone's support and reading your feedback in the comments below. Unrelated, but now I have to go retrieve some administrative documents from an abandoned building. What could go wrong? Anyway, hope you have a good one. This is Troll Gaming, signing off.